The new Tyrannosaurus Rex TLC is finally out, and in this video we're going to be going over its new changes, both cosmetically and mechanically. I have been excited for this TLC, and now that it's finally here, we can experience it for ourselves. So without any further introduction, let's get into it. Well, you already know the drill. Since we have this new TLC and I'm doing another review video, I have been waiting forever to have the Rex TLC. I've been wanting it for so long. The original Rex design in Path of Titans to me just looked a little off, but excuse you. But with that being said, we're going to take a look at the subspecies like we did last time. Starting off with the one that I'm currently using, Sanguis, however the fuck you say that. 10% fracture damage. Rex, we have 25 knockback resistance, and Batar, which is attack +3. Now, I think before we got this full TLC for the Rex, the update we got, I think a week and a half ago, the Critter and Foliage update or whatever, the audio update, we had it to where Batar was fracture and Sanguis was attack damage, but that's kind of irrelevant now, obviously, because it's said and done. But going off of the Rex alone, I like the basic Rex model. It's stocky, it has a nice neck shape. I love its face, I love the brows. Everything on it looks good on the Rex design. It looks like a proper Rex. It doesn't look like the shrink wrapped JP Rex now. Finally. Batar, I don't know what fucking happened here. He, all right. It looks like somebody took a branch and beat him to death as a child. But his nose ridge is very pronounced. His brows are as well, and he's got a huge lump on his head. I'm not the biggest fan of this model. Again, it's preference really, but not a fan of that. Going on to Sanguis, this is probably my favorite because it's kind of a blend of JP and accurate. To me personally, I think it looks good. The pronounced brow, the muted nose ridge, unlike Batar, and it's still got that stocky frame, which I appreciate. But now that we've gone over the subspecies, let's actually move into the game and look at the emotes and the new animations. Now that we've shown the emotes and the new animations, I want to say that they're a breath of fresh air. They flow a lot better, they feel a lot better. The old Rex just felt stiff and clunky, and it just seemed a little unnatural with some of its movements, but I'm glad they polished that with the TLC. But with that being said, let's move on to the new Rex's abilities. Now moving on to the two new passives for the Rex, we have Strong Ankles. Take 25% reduced damage to hits on your legs. Basically, all this does is it kind of limits the ability for ankle biters and smaller dinosaurs to really attack you or hurt you as much. And then we have Padded Soles, faster and quieter crouch movement speed, have boosted stamina regeneration while walking and trotting. Now, I noticed this before the TLC even came out, like pre-TLC, I guess we'll call it. But whenever they first dropped the two new passive slots on the Rex, they were empty, but I noticed that crouching was faster with the Rex. So I'm assuming that was just kind of a bug on their end. They just didn't fully iterate the abilities. But I noticed this before the TLC officially dropped. The next ability slot, which is unlisted, It is the bite. Causes high damage and can be used to chew on clamp targets. Now, I'm starting to notice this with more of their TLCs they're releasing. It seems like they're just putting bite in their own category, leaving room for the head slot to have more variety. So usually you can have about 2 to 3 head abilities on these newer carnivores, which I'm okay with for the most part. Up next on the head slots, we have 3. They took away our face tank and gave us clamp. Well, we'll get to that in a second. Starting off with the fracture bites, we have crushing bite, a low damage attack that also deals low fracture damage, can trigger a full bone break. Obviously, this one synergizes with bone snap. Charge up the attack and inflict fracture-based damage on how long it's held. This attack will trigger a bone break if it hits an opponent with a high amount of fracture. Pretty standard. And then they gave us clamp, which I personally was hyped for when I saw it first. Bite and hold on to an enemy for as long as your stamina allows, can move and drag them around, immune to knockback while carrying another dinosaur. The Rex needed this, and I'm so glad it's finally in here. Moving on to the senses, we have Power Couple. While grouped with another Tyrannosaur within 200 meters, you gain 25% increased status effect recovery rate and 25% slower food and water drain. Then we have Killing Blows. Deal 30% increased damage while a creature not in your group has a fracture or bone break within 50 meters. This is going to work very well for fracture builds on this Rex. Then we have Blood Rivalry. Landing any bite attack against an enemy will give you a stack of Blood Rivalry. Reaching 3 stacks will grant you a 60-second buff, increasing your fracture damage by 50%. Now moving on to the hides, we have 4 different hides now. Starting off with Tyrant's Presence, all smaller enemies within a 30-meter radius lose 25% of their armor. Then we have Thick Boned, dramatically boost fracture healing and become immune to bone break except from falling. This probably will be very good for solo Rexes and solo players in general. The next hide is Ravenous. Eating another player's corpse grants a health recovery boost for 60 seconds. This healing persists into combat but will not heal if bleeding. Activates only once every 5 minutes. And the last hide is King's Mantle. Taking hits grants a stacking 2% damage boost up to 10% for 10 seconds. On to the next category of the legs, we have 2 new leg abilities. Surprise Attack. After crouching for 10 seconds, sprint forward to gain a 20% speed boost and a 100% acceleration boost for 10 seconds. During this time, you are also immune to knockback, only usable out of combat and will disable upon entering combat. Now with that being said, this skill sounds a hell of a lot like the ambush mechanic from the Isle that the Rex has and the other carnivores have in the Isle, which I'm down for. I've been wanting to play the Isle forever. I don't have a PC, but I'm really glad that they integrated this mechanic into the Path Rex, and I hope they do this with more of their carnivores, because I think they need them, especially any future Apexes they add. Moving on to the next leg ability, we have Shatter Stride. Boosts uphill and downhill movement speed within 50 meters of a fractured target. Again, this is going to be perfect for a fracture build Rex. I'm starting to think that the fracture build Rex might be the way to go, the way all of these abilities are panning out. And then we have our standard tail attack, an attack that causes light damage and causes knockback. Pretty simple. I personally think that it should do a little more damage than light, but it is what it is. Just my opinion, and that don't matter. To the voice abilities, which we have 3 now instead of 2, which was originally Deep Rumble and Tyrant Roar. We have Terrible Roar, call that boosts damage by 25% and reduces cooldowns by 25% for all Tyrannosaurs in the group. Doesn't stack. Then we have Shattering Cry, reduces fracture healing for all creatures not in your group within 50 meters by 35% for 120 seconds. Rampage. Deal up to 50% increased damage for 30 seconds when below 50% health, scaling with the amount of health missing. So, essentially, this is like the Berserker voice call I think the Alberta has, or the Despledosaurus has, either or. I think this is just what it's supposed to be for the Rex. And there you have it, the fully rebuilt Tyrannosaurus Rex in Path of Titans. This update has brought the Rex back into the spotlight and now actually has more of a fighting chance in the official roster. But I want to hear what you guys think in the comments. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Let me know. If you like this video, smack that like button. And if you want to see more Path of Titans videos, hit subscribe. We be doing that around here. But until then, I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.